What's up, guys? This is True Ninja, and I wanted to do a kind of a little review and kind of a little tips for people for sniping. And for one, I wanted to do another review on the Novrich now that I've actually got to take it out in the field and do some games with it. And I tell you right now, it is definitely worth the money. I was dominating the field. Literally only got hit twice the entire time I was playing from 9 a.m. till 5:30, and that's damn good if you ask me. But just wanted to show you that an average SSG has been played with. Obviously, you can see the paint from the paintball field that we usually play on. It's kind of a slash paintball field slash airsoft. They do airsoft every once in a while. It's not an official airsoft field. But still, nonetheless, it is fun. And needless to say, I wanted to go over some few things. For one, about your hop-up. A lot of people playing typically want to, play on a platform where you're way above people and sniping. And a lot of people don't think about this with your hop-up. How you're shooting from above, your BBs usually are set to go straight, with the hop up, but when you're at an elevated angle, you got to aim a little bit lower, because what happens is your BB's hop up will put a backspin on your BB, and if you don't adjust that hop up while you're shooting up there, I don't like to adjust my hop up, so I'll just aim a little lower when I'm sniping from above, so that way when I get back down to ground level, I have a straight shot and I don't have to keep adjusting it. Now, a lot of players who want to start in sniping, they get really discouraged because they think I'm a sniper, I want to get high up and I want to shoot people from a high angle. And honestly, there's no problem with shooting from a high angle. It does make you a bigger target, but it does allow you a lot more range of the field. You can see more, you can usually hit people a lot more if you have the knowledge. For one, a lot of people, like I had to show like 3 people that were just wanting to snipe, and they just followed me like a lost puppy. And I will tell you right now, the mistakes they were making, I was trying to tell them why they were playing, and they were asking me questions because they couldn't seem to hit everybody. And just because I'm using a Novrich doesn't mean that, I have better range of field. To be honest with you, yes, it is a very, very accurate gun, but you also got to take in consideration wind. You got to take in consideration hop up, because if you have your hop up set to a straight motion, when you shoot it'll go straight, but you got to also think about the angle of engagement you're taking. For one, I was sitting on the field and I had a guy with a sniper AEG kind of setup, and he's trying to shoot him actually it's more like a DMR. But either way, he's taking multiple shots, pop, 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 and he just couldn't seem to hit anybody. And he's just like, what's going on? Like, why can't I hit anybody? I'm hitting people left and right beside him. And so I had let him know that your hop up, when you're up higher, when you're shooting, and one thing I have noticed is when you are shooting above in a higher altitude, your wind's going to be affected on your BB a lot more, because you're at a higher altitude and there's more wind higher typically. But that wasn't the reason he couldn't hit anybody. It wasn't wind, it was the fact that the BB rotates in a back motion, so it does typically go higher. So if you're at a higher angle and you're trying to shoot somebody, typically you want to adjust that down a little bit, so that way when you're shooting at that higher angle, the wind isn't just carrying your BB away. Now, yes, you can go to 4.6s and you won't have trouble at all, really, and it depends on the engagement distance you're shooting from. If you're shooting from afar, it really doesn't affect it much because the BB does eventually drop. But like, I'm talking 75 feet to 100 feet typically is the range most snipers are ended up shooting, because you're not playing like on a big field. Typically, if you're playing where I'm playing, it's roughly, I'd say, about 200 yards or less, unless we're in the big field area. And needless to say, a lot of people make that mistake and they don't adjust their hop up down for the fact that your BBs, when you're shooting at a higher altitude, your BBs are just going to go up higher. And when you're at a flat angle of engagement, your BBs typically go straight on, but it's not accounting for the elevation of where you're shooting. So just another tip for people that want to snipe that aren't very getting very effective shots out. You definitely want to look at that engagement angle you were using, because you can be very effective from higher, because obviously you're going to see more of the field, but just the angle of engagement can definitely affect how you need to adjust your hop up. So just keep in mind when you're shooting from a higher elevation, the wind can carry your BBs a lot more if you're using lighter weight BBs. Now 4.6s typically don't go up as high, but you know, it does have a backspin on it, so they do raise. Like, I might have some people saying that I'm completely wrong, but in my experience, and this is just personal experience and personal perspective on this, I have told people these tips and they have actually improved the amount of accuracy and improved the amount of people they're taking out left and right. And I had 4 people tell me thanks, because they started doing what I told them and they started shredding people with the snipers and DMRs. But just wanted to go over that, because I don't know if a lot of people think about the angle engagement. Just keep that in mind when you are shooting with a sniper. The angle engagement can change your hop up, you know, the way you have to adjust it. But overall, I wanted to go over also how effective this Navrich is. I'll tell you right now, it is a very good investment. When I first got it, I was not very happy, because some of the stuff was hidden underneath the foam, and I didn't even know about the speed loader, and I had to hand load everything. And hand loading it is a pain in the ass. But the speed loader, it's very, very quick and effective. Also, my spring, I ordered an extra spring and it was underneath there and I didn't find it. And I was kind of agitated about it, but I ended up finding it later on. So, needless to say, and I had some problems with my Navrich. I had to take it apart and adjust some stuff. So, you know, it's not like they send it to you pre-adjusted. There was some issues with the pullback. And I even had somebody say mine's is still pretty hard to pull back. I mean, 500 FPS is a lot to pull back. For my field, it's considered a class 2 sniper. I can't shoot anybody unless they're 75 yards away, and typically that can be a pain. But needless to say, though, keep those tips in mind, and I hope this helped somebody. If you have any more comments that could help somebody or any more suggestions, I would like you to leave a comment below, subscribe, and like if you can. I'm trying to get more followers, trying to help out as many people, try to grow the airsoft business. I'm trying to get everything going, and hopefully if everything goes well for me, I'll have my own airsoft field and I'll be running my own stuff. But we'll see if my backers come through. But needless to say, I hope y'all like this. Like and subscribe.